Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CoysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And everybody, welcome to the Hogville.net Razorback postgame show presented by Coy's Southern Eats. The Razorbacks take their first lump of the season with a 38-31 loss to Brigham Young University. And it was a really tough game. Defensively, just kind of swallow. I think more or less it was the penalties that really killed them in the end. 13 penalties for 131 yards. You can't do that against a BYU team that it plays sound from top to bottom, offense and defense. Doesn't matter if they have first-year quarterback that's starting for, or a transfer quarterback that's starting for them or not. So, defensively, first half was incredible. They were flying to the ball. Coming into the game, they'd only given up 19 points over the first two games. Yes, it was to Kent State and to Western Carolina, but still sound defense. They had only allowed 7 rushing first downs the entire season. Tonight was a little bit of a different story. The pass defense tonight, though, that was pretty solid. You had Jaheim Thomas. He was tops tonight with 9 tackles, 6 solo. And then Krupal was right behind him with 7. You had a strip by Nudie McLaughlin that was recovered by Hudson Clark. That was a big turnover as well. It felt like the penalties in the second half, Drake, really hindered the Razorbacks in their comeback in the last 8-9 minutes. It seemed like every time they started to catch some momentum, they would shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, but regardless if it was on offense or defense, just, any type of penalty really just kills your momentum, either side of the ball. And I think you really saw that tonight, especially when BYU had the ball last. They drove down to the south end of the end zone, and Landon Jackson, jumped off sides. Just things like that, you can just see how much of a momentum killer, a vibe killer, as most kids would say today.
So that's one of the things that I want to talk about. The first drive of the game, AJ Green does not put his head down and then starts to run like he's done almost the entire time he's been here. He kept his head up, ran through between the tackles, and had I do believe it was a 55-yard touchdown in the 45-yard touchdown run there in the first quarter. You kind of started to see where Arkansas might be making some gains on the offensive line as far as scheme-wise goes, working together. I feel like towards the end of the game, Drake, that really fizzled off, especially with Brady Latham.
Oh, man, yeah. Again, penalties all around, such a big momentum killer. You could see, that last little drive we had in the last 2 minutes. I think he had maybe 2 penalties back to back, but that was when they moved him to, I believe it was when they switched him over to left tackle when Patrick Kutis came out. So that, that might have been part of it, but still, you just can't make those mistakes. That's such a momentum killer, especially when you only have 2 minutes left in the game or 30 seconds, whatever it was.
You saw Luke has have kind of a coming out party tonight. Caught his first touchdown as a Razorback, which was really nice to see. He had some great grabs there. Also, a really great grab by Luke there towards the end of the first half. You knew that BYU was going to be getting the ball back in the second half, and the defense come up, made a great stop. That's whenever they made a great stop, and then you thought, okay, maybe they can catch some momentum. And Luke had that great catch, but then the offense kind of fizzled out again. They got the ball inside the 5, then the penalty kicked it back, and so they had to settle for a field goal. But then you turn right back around, come back out of halftime, the defense gets another stop, and that leads to another touchdown. And that was, I thought at that point, I thought that was going to be a turning point where there was a 10-point swing where you held BYU, you were able to hold them defensively and then turn those into points. And that's something that the defense has really been emphasizing with Travis Williams and Coach Woodson. But then it seemed like the defense kind of tapered off a little bit. Then you started, like I said, again, I hate to beat this like a dead horse, but the penalties were a killer tonight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can say it as much as we want. Penalties really were kind of a big factor. A few of them questionable, but it is what it is. kind of to talk about the offense a little bit more. I like how you mentioned Luke Haas. It was really fun to watch. The freshman from Bigsby come in and had a huge game. Regardless of the score, he had a great game. He had 4 catches, 78 yards, the 1 touchdown, and then just really just nice seeing him get out there. And they kind of pushed him out a little wide, and that was fun to watch him get some work out there. I also want to talk about Andrew Armstrong. He had a great day today. He brought 9 catches, 98 yards, caught all of his balls. I think, again, it's nice to see, our receivers looking that great. Because, coming into the season, there's so many question marks. And then, again, regardless of the score, what we see, I think our run game did look quite a bit better tonight. We did, had some miscues, misreads, whatever it might be. But, Adrian Green was kind of our guy tonight. We got him on 8 attempts on 86 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he had the 1-yard run. It was 45 or 55, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then
55. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you even have Rashad Binion have some pretty good carries, 13 carries, 47 yards. So I don't know. It's kind of coming together slowly. It's really that offensive line. We're just trying to find, the best fits. It's kind of seems like it's slowly coming together. Not that
one of the things that I noticed tonight was whenever Dominic Johnson got the ball in open space, he tried to make a cutback, and I think that's where you see some of the lateral movement has diminished over the last 2 years with the 2 ACL tears, and you kind of wonder exactly how they might be able to use him going forward. But a little bit about the passing, Drake. What did KJ do tonight?
So we have KJ at 24 completions on 35 attempts, and he threw for 247 yards and 1 touchdown. Compared to last game, we got him at 13 for 19, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, he threw 1 less touchdown, but he threw 140 extra yards or whatever that math is. And then also he had his first interception of the year so far. Yeah. So, if you can go 3 games and you throw however many passes that is, that's not too bad of odds going right there.
So the offensive line, I felt, was better tonight in passing and pass protection. Again, that's one of those things where Sam wants to address as far as the physicality goes. The first quarter, we did see those guys straining up front. They were holding their blocks a little bit longer. They were giving KJ a little bit more time to sit back in the pocket. The interception, that was something that I think everybody they weren't scratching their head. They just knew that he kind of underthrew that ball because the guy flashed underneath and picked it off. But it was the wide receiver was 10 yards behind where the ball was intercepted.
Yeah, and there was a couple of different plays where it seemed like, the ball was underthrown or, it might have just been like a misread, a miscue, whatever it might have been. But there's, I can think of at least 3 different times tonight, it kind of looked like it was underthrown. But that comes with, your quarterback being pressured and whatnot. And I think, towards the end of the game, we kind of saw a little bit more of that. Kind of see KJ taking a few more hits, being hurt in the pocket, things of that sort.
So tonight, as far as the defense goes, they recorded another turnover where you saw Nudie McLaughlin punch the ball out, and Hudson Clark had picked it up. That was their 7th recovered either. Well, let me rephrase that. Sorry, y'all. That was the 2nd fumble that they recovered this season. Also, they still have 5 interceptions. They did not have an interception tonight. That would be a total of 7 turnovers that they had on the plus side for the year. They came in with 9 sacks, and tonight they recorded 2 more. Landon Jackson got a sack and a half, and then Jaheim Singletary recorded a half sack. And one of the things that, Drake, I was talking to you about during the game was the tackles as a whole. You got really accustomed to seeing a Grant Morgan, a Bumper Pool, or Drew Sanders record 15, 20 tackles a game coming into the game tonight, Jaheim Thomas only had 20 on the season. He had 9 tonight. He started to kind of pick it up a little bit more. But I think that with the defense, some of the players that they've had on defense here in the last couple of years, we've kind of grown a little spoiled by that.
Spoiled by having great linebackers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we are spoiled. I ain't gonna lie. We had some great backers. And I think we still do. Jaheim Thomas. I think he can be just as good as some of the guys we've had in the past. The last 3 weeks, I think he's led in tackles. And then of course you got Chris Paul. You got Chris Paul, who's also SEC freshman of the year, or not of the year, but was in one of the teams last year. So I still think we have some really good, linebacker talent back there.
Yeah. All right. So Drake's gonna take a look at something really quick. He needs to get done here. As far as Sam right now is on the podium. I had some comments already come in here on the show. Fire everybody to Sam and Cody Kennedy have got questions to answer. And I'll be very frank with you folks, us as journalists, it is a little tough to swallow sometimes. Yes, we do have a job to do. And those are sometimes ask some hard questions, because honestly, that's what we need to do. And a loss like this, if Arkansas would have gotten hammered 38-7, 38-14, yeah, I'm just going to tell you right now, it would be probably one of the more uncomfortable press conferences, kind of like whenever Western Kentucky came in here and beat a Chad Morris team 45-17. That's that was a really tough one. But tonight, this might, and I hate to say it like this, but this might be a little bit easier to swallow, knowing that it was a BYU team and not a Western Carolina or a Kent State team. So that's one of the things that. Sorry, oh, you're good. So that's one of the things that they have to look at. So let's we're going to take a quick break here for just a second, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to preview the LSU game next week, which will be at 6 o'clock on ESPN, and we will be back very shortly.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CloysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
And everybody, welcome back to the final segment of the Hogville.net Razorback post-game show presented by Koi Southern Eats. Razorbacks lose a heartbreaker tonight to BYU, 38-31. So, Drake, I was kind of looking back at some of the stats, where we have a home and home with some of these out-of-conference opponents. You had at Texas Tech a few years ago where Arkansas went and basically watched Alex Collins run roughshod over Texas Tech. And then Texas Tech came back that next year, and Patrick Mahomes returned the favor.
Yeah.
You also, and then again tonight, you had BYU. You go to BYU and you put up an offensive showcase on them on their home field, and they come in tonight and they sneak away with the win. You don't want to have some of those out of conference games like a Texas Tech where you go at home and you beat them and they come back to your house and you can watch Alex Collins run roughshod over them, and then watch Patrick Mahomes come back here and then run roughshod over over the Razorbacks. And then now BYU is returning the favor to Arkansas, what Arkansas did to them on their home field last year. That's something that I think fans want to see the tide kind of turn a little bit. So you have an Oklahoma State coming up in the near future. You have an Arkansas State that's going to be in War Memorial in 2 years. And so it's just something we're going to have to kind of – I'd love to – personally, I like to see it kind of turn the tables a little bit. I know you do too.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody.
But really what the task at hand is now is that you're looking at LSU going down to Baton Rouge, 6 o'clock game on ESPN. You've got a lot of LSU fans are going to have all day to go down and tailgate. Then you're going to go into Death Valley, and it's going to be a ruckus environment. It will be electric, but Arkansas is going to have a tall task at hand.
Oh, yeah, to say the least. Yeah. Time and time again, you'll hear people say every year how difficult it is to play in Death Valley. I think it'll be a good competitive game. I think that LSU has a pretty good, solid team this year, as always. They went into Starkville today and absolutely thumped Mississippi State 41-14. Like I said, the Jalen Daniels is a real deal. Linebacker Harold Perkins, those guys can really play some ball. I think that's going to be a really interesting environment come Saturday because, like you said, those late games, you have all day to drink and hang out and tailgate up till then. So I don't know. I think that'll be a really tough environment to go into.
So Razorbacks will travel down to LSU this coming weekend. We'll also still have, even though there are away games, we will still have the Razorback post-game show here with Hogville.net. It might be a little bit of a different setting. You won't see the cars or the crowd behind us, but you will see us in studio still, and still provide you with up-to-date analysis, coverage, and how the game goes and all that good stuff. Be sure to check us out tomorrow. I'll have Limbo Parks as a special guest at 2 o'clock. After that, I'll have Otis Kirk and the Razorback Football Report at 3, and then Dudley Dawson and the Razorback Diamond Report at 4:30. So again, Limbo Parks at 2, Otis at 3, and Dudley at 4:30. Also, make sure anytime you guys need any information on Twitter, my guy Drake here, he's the one that hits, punches the keys, and make sure that sometimes make sure that you guys get all the information that you need. I also anything as far as press conferences and shows go, I'll make sure you guys get those on YouTube and also on Hogville.net. And any information that needs to be put across, myself or Otis will put on Hogville.net or Dudley as well on Facebook. So be sure to check us out on all of those platforms for any Razorback news, breaking news that comes. We'll also have that for you too as well. So Drake, next week, LSU, what is a score prediction?
Well, like I've said before, it's a hard place to play, no matter what team it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go 42-24 LSU. I think it'll be a good, solid fight, but I think the Hogs will come up short next week.
There are a lot of question marks on the offensive line. See what maturates from that for the rest of this next coming week as far as practice goes. I really believe that Arkansas will step their game up again like they did from last week to this week. And you have another week to prepare for a very, very familiar conference foe in LSU, a quarterback that they've seen before, that they've faced before in Jaden Daniels. If you think about it, last year, LSU came in here, and it was a nail biter. Honestly, if KJ Jefferson was healthy, Arkansas wins that game last year.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case. LSU escaped with a 10-3 win on it was really an ugly ball game. I don't think that you're going to see that this year. So it might turn out to be a slugfest, kind of like the way it was tonight, where Arkansas may be giving up a lot of points, but they may be scoring a lot of points. And we'll have to see what happens. Final score prediction for me, I would give that tomorrow whenever I talk to Otis. I want to kind of process this a little bit more. The reason why I put Drake on the spot is because we won't see him until next week.
Dirty
dog. I know, right? That was a dirty move by myself. So, everybody, I want to thank you all for jumping in tonight with us. I know it's late. You guys have had a lot of football to kind of digest. And again, thank you guys for jumping on. This has been the Hogville.net Razorback postgame show presented by Coy's Southern Eats.